Daemon Princes of Khorne. Story continued from Khorne the Blood God. It is happening. The first time I am summoned. How? I have left none alive, none who I have met, none who I have fought, none who have seen my face, my visage. I have slain and slaughtered my way across the world in the wake of the Ever-Chosen. I have hacked and hewed my way across the realms. None have survived my fury. How? How can I be summoned? Who remains that knows that rarest of all secrets, that which I alone know? For I am a mighty demon prince, a warlord of the great god Khorne. Yet even I have one secret, the old secret. My name is Madrasaz the Marshal. But once upon a time, it was Etienne Delacour. And it is now that I am pulled. At first it is slow, almost furtive, a tugging on my soul. Ha! That which I call a soul. For I have not owned my own soul since that day, the Red Day. The day I became a dark prince of a darker god. I look back. I must find out the truth. I must explore that which I never pay any mind. For I am a being of the present, despite being a thing outside of linear time. I must walk my memory. I must find the hidden rat who blurted out my secret. For I must find the one who has escaped my wrath. I must remember. I was a knight. I served a lord who served a lady. I thought I did then. Now I know the truth. I spit on her. But it could not have been from there. They are gone. All of them gone. We destroyed that place. Killed all of those people. I remember. I cannot forget. For all times are one for me. When, what, and where have merged into now. All is now. Past, present, future. All is now. We destroyed the realms. I was a warrior in the columns. Each day we would raise or rise and do battle. Each day we joined our lines. And each day I slew many. With each passing battle I grew in strength, speed, ability. The dizzying vista of opportunity. For it was not merely humans or never-born I slew. It was a kaleidoscope of myriad forms and styles, and I killed them all. I rose in standing, day by day, making my way to the front of the columns, and each day I took more of the enemy than before. I slit their throats and broke the bones of my opposite numbers in the fray. Their champions I slew again and again. And Khorne smiled on me. He graced my blade with his glittering light, bathing the area with his red energies whene'er it was drawn, so much like those of the Knights of the Lady. Bright it shines, but with a hue of rage and wrath instead of light, but no less bright for all of it. I see red everywhere when it is unsheathed. I see their blood coursing through their veins. I will free it from them. I will make the blood flow. So much like the swords of the lords of my mortal life, bright, blazing. But it was not white, it was red. My blade he bequeathed powers, and soon there was naught that I could not cut, nothing I could not sever with its edge. Eventually, I was singled out. I was approached by the banner lords of Khorne, the great generals of the columns. I was to lead. The columns had served their purpose. We, the warriors of Khorne, were become mighty. And thus it was time for us to march forth. But they wished me to lead one of the columns. For I was chosen, they told me. Then when the ever-chosen roused the guards, when the world of my birth was ripe, we marched forth. I took the lead of a band, and we performed our role to the satisfaction of the great god Khorne. For he raised me up and blessed me time and time again. I watched my universe end. We had won. Yet it was not the conclusion, and in time we were unleashed again. An age passed. The columns returned to the wastes of my master's realm, but then we were ordered to take our banners out, for a new world had formed, and I was tasked with a greater role, to bring terror to the realms. I chose my weapons and attendants, a few, a sacred band, 7 others only. My destiny before me, I could see it now. We were 8, the holy number of Khorne. I was on the path. None would gainsay me. None. And thus we few marched through the realm gates. We struck at the soft underbelly of the realms. My band never exceeded the sacred number of 8. When a more powerful applicant wished to join, they took an existing spot by dint of combat prowess alone. We cleaved those before us, hunted other Chaos warbands, took their leaders' heads, took their weapons and trinkets of glory, gifts from their gods. And I burned them all, destroying them as supplication to my lord, to Khorne. My line prepared, my deeds mounting to a veritable avalanche, my boons beyond counting. I walked the last path, the most dangerous of them all. I sought Apotheosis, and I ordered it and acted it. The 8 of us took 7 cities in 8 days each, taking 88 heads in 8 piles in 8 places in each town we struck down. We then took 8,888 prisoners to the 8th gate of the 8th city, a city controlled by a mighty man of magic and faith, but just a man. And we slaughtered those prisoners in 8 hours exactly. When the last one fell, his head torn from his shoulders by my bright blade, it happened. I had been a paragon for my god. I had brought skulls and blood for his table, for his throne. I had been deemed worthy, and I ascended. My body reformed, my sinews sizzled, my mind and soul expanded. My existence was augmented in ways that cannot be explained in mortal terms. I was a mighty Daemon Prince now. When I transformed, we took the 8th city in 8 minutes, but enjoyed it for 8 days more. My greatest moment as Etienne, because after that, I was not him anymore, but part of a greater whole. I'm a bulge in his muscles, I am his sinews. I am Khorne. I am his thrall. I am his prince with minions of my own, but really, they are his men. Always, they are his. I rage at this. He knows. He enjoys it. So I rage all the more. But I do it in his name, while reviling it also. Torn asunder, I do the same to reality and all that I meet. They are his ties. They are my rage. They are my damnation. I do not care any more. no more than he would. And I am he, and he is me. But he is more, so we are him. I slew my friends eventually. I slew them all because they were not my friends anymore. They were his friends, Etienne's. So I crushed them under my new hooves. They fought hard. I expected nothing else, nothing less. But I slew them. Not immediately, oh no. We raged across the lands, but we left none alive. Ever. We got them all. We would not ambush, we were not cowards. We would herald our advent, make our intent plain. But we did not reveal ourselves to numbers we could not take. Challenges we had aplenty, pushing the edges with each fresh slaughter. But we were not idiots either. Rage, but rage contained, released when best, as a sacrament to Khorne. I am not an insensate, nor a thirster. I serve a different purpose. For them is the savagery of war unfettered, bellowed as a challenge to war, things of pure destruction. For me, there is more and less. For I am a prince, a demon prince. And a prince is either a leader of throngs of warriors, or a prince is a solo slayer roaming for adventure. I was the latter. I stalked through the realms, through the deepest, darkest edges of my lord's domains. I skirmished with my lessers of the domains of Tzeentch and Nurgle. I challenged and bested the border princes of Slaanesh thrice. I wandered deeper into my own lord's realm. I wandered further for things to kill, skulls to take. And thus I strode through pathways I did not know, and few did. And I wandered here, to this reality. No different, but utterly different. Nothing had truly changed but the scope. For here everything is done so much larger. Like this is the original, and I had been residing in a mere shadow, a copy of this universe's splendor. For the stars were filled with lights, and each light was a world to be conquered. And when I came, I was granted one of those worlds. My God gave it to me, to raise my numbers. And as he was here, so I was also. And instantly, I knew who was where, and what was what. Different, but not. The anathema, his soldiers. So like the golden warriors of lightning, but also so much darker. I had faced neither yet, so I built my arms, my armies. I dominated my demon world, cowed all, forced them to rigor, to vigor, to honor, to constant excellence, to constant war. We prepared, we set our claws, swept our wings and soared across battlefields I flew, taking stock, taking revenge on those who shirked or irked or were too slow. And I fought the best, and made them better. When the doors to the stars were opened, we did not pour through like the scum of Nurgle. We did not storm through like the minions of the Catamite. We marched. We strode forward in order and with discipline. We came, we saw, we destroyed. None should know my name. None. All are gone. How? How am I summoned? Story continued after the lore. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the forces, factions, and faces of the Warhammer 40k universe, the grim darkness of the far future, Where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. And today, in celebration of the new figure from Games Workshop, we shall be discussing one of the most powerful beings in the setting. A thing of terror and unstoppable martial power. Of course, I can only be speaking of Daemon Princes. Now I would have it noted that this entry concentrates on Daemon Princes of Khorne. I hope to be able to put together entries for the other gods in due course, as I find them all so astonishingly, yet ghoulishly, entrancing. I feel they should all get a tale from my meagre abilities in the future. So let us not beat around the bush. And so, as usual, for the very basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote, Daemon Princes. Daemon Princes are infernal monsters that tower over the mortals they lead to battle. These paragons of evil take many forms, though all exude a palpable aura of terror and power. In battle, the Daemon Prince strides through the pitiful bullets of the enemy without pause, his unnatural laughter driving men to the edge of fear. Warp energy sizzles from his eyes, and black flames curl from his mouth as he speaks dread phrases that kill as sure as any blade. These are creatures of nightmare, a living expression of chaos given form. The ultimate ambition of most champions of chaos is to achieve immortality. For the devotees of the ruinous powers, this is far from an impossible goal. Those few who climb the path of the champion to its apex are granted the prize of eternal life. Though thousands of lesser aspirants will fall by the wayside, a supremely talented devotee will clamber over mountains of the slain until he reaches the pinnacle of his bloody craft. Over the course of centuries, such champions offer up sacrifices on a planetary scale, risking death and mutation in the hope of attracting the gaze of the gods. And yet, murder alone is not enough. Only those who further the cause of their masters are given the precious gift of demonhood. They are raised up to become demigods, roaring their triumph into the night as their new bodies swell and bulge with the energies of the warp. Yet a Daemon Prince is just as much a tool of the dark gods as his mortal followers. If anything, he becomes even more of an extension of his master's will. Demons cannot be truly killed, only banished back to the warp for a time. One who ascends to demonhood can look forward to an eternity of servitude at his patron's behest. Even death is no respite. End quote. Now that we have heard the base lore, let us discuss it in more depth. Few really look at this situation with careful attention. In my view, which is no expert perspective, I would remind everyone, I am naught but another fan who can be argued to have a mild sense of flair. But in my view, the gift of demonhood is a two-edged sword. For most just see the power that is gained, the godlike attributes, the ability to cause warp their domain, and to ascend to princehood, and have attendance, holdings, and a total control of the substance of space, time, and the warp around them. For it means that the person is gone. Their personality may remain, in their sensibilities, but this is simply not the case. Their souls are subsumed into the god that they become an appendage of, the god who has elevated them. For they do not see that the person, the rare soul of those who are raised up, are actually absorbed into the god that they have served. They join with them. For all demons are like fingers, appendages of the great god, so they are actually nothing but a reflection of the malice and spite of that god. They do not realize that the soul that is being sacrificed to the gods is actually theirs. Never again will they have a single thought, feeling, or goal that is outside of the will and for the exaltation of that being that they have now been absorbed into. Yes, even the demon Primarchs. Angron is no longer actually Angron. He is a fist permanently attached to Khorne. he is the knuckles of that great entity of rage unending and unquenchable. But in all of the ways that matter, Angron is dead. For those few, the truth has been stated. But for those who do not quite make the cut, do not quite match with the energies of the dark gods who they serve, do not quite please them enough, the end result is an overwhelming set of attributes and twisting that their form simply cannot tolerate, and thus they burst, and their central identity and form are washed away. To these beings, the fate is to be a chaos spawn, a gibbering and slathering ball of tentacles and teeth, a mindless moaning bubble of twisting form that has no real sentience or self-awareness. A horrific fate. Horrific. So to walk the path of the prince, to try to gain Apotheosis, is not a simple matter, and not without risk. The nature of the beast. Think that all demon princes are the same? This is simply not so. For they are reflections of their god's power, and Khorne is the greatest, the first and most powerful of all of the 4 dark gods. Where most princes control time and space, throw out miasmas of pestilence, exude pheromones with miles range, a prince of Khorne is not alike to any other powers of the gods. Where others have layered effects and twistings of reality to protect and deflect, the demon of Khorne is nothing more than sheer honed martial ability. They care not for spells, dreamers, enchantments, or rites. They are pure excellence beyond anything the debauched, infested, or schemers can even comprehend. They have the center, senses, and swiftness of a samurai, the pride and control of a Spartan, and the strength and endurance of a stoic. They are warriors, nothing more, but certainly nothing less. It is in the level of their skill that makes them lethality itself. Where a great unclean one can be almost invulnerable due to its folds of flab, a demon of Khorne is protected by his skill. But oft the Lord of War gives great gifts that allow a weakness to form. For those demons who rely on the impenetrability of skin and cursed form can get complacent. A truly terrible demon of Khorne is one that has not forgotten that it is not invulnerable, and takes its opponents seriously, but takes them all. For the Skull Throne is hungry, and the rivers of Khorne's realm are fed from real space. Hence the blood must eternally flow. For the worst of his demons, like all of the worst specimens of the forces of chaos, are ever the slaves of darkness. For few Neverborn can muster the spite to match the souls of mankind, nor can they innovate, as theirs is not a motive force. They are merely parts of the god Khorne, and he is merely a reflection of reality, an accumulation of our worst impulses, the darkness that dwells within all sentient souls in the setting, due to Asgarad, due to the First War, or so some say. But it is humanity and the Eldar who have most shaped and fed these creatures, these caricatures of the forces they were meant to be. And it will always be Khorne who gains the greatest repast. Hence his warlords and avatars ever will be the mightiest beings in the universe. For in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. If you are intent on gaining any figures for this glorious game, then do please consider getting a discount by using one of our affiliate links in the description, as that helps us out on the guides as well. So a good deed while filling a need, so to put it. And do consider liking and subscribing. If you do, then please hit the notifications button, as I would not want you to miss out. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo. Now, back to the story. I feel the tug become more insistent, more strong. I follow it. Out of curiosity is what I tell myself, but it is not true. he had my name. How? Then I know. My consciousness manifests inside a flame. My power not fully manifest. It is for communication only. I look around a dusty room, and I look at him standing in its center. I know how he knows, the little snot. But I will play along. Who dares summon the Marshal, Madrathaz? I summon the perfect knight. In the name of Khorne. I do. Etienne Delacour. Or is that Delacoward? He thinks himself so clever. I play along. Etienne Delacour was my name. It is now the Marshal, Madrathaz. He scried for the name. Clever, clever, clever little man. But oh, what is this? No man at all. A knight. But no longer in shining armor. A knight of this strange universe. A marine, all in red. He talks at me, asks me questions, seems to drag things out. I lose interest and attempt to leave. But it is then that I find I cannot. He smiles at me in that red power armor. And in that instant, a second, third, fourth, all the way to the 8th level of new runes dance around the circles he has created. This is no normal summonation. Surely, it is my first. But this is no normal being, no normal event. Even for an dangerous warrior of the anathema, though he serves him not now. He chants as he smiles at me. He smiles in victory. I lose sight. I cannot move. I cannot retreat from this. I cannot fully manifest to tear out his throat. And in the next moments, I am trapped. To be continued.